rebels and troublemakers to stand out. Marginalized with voices making us so proud. For identity in the industry, we all shout. So many women empowered making their own.
Today, we have a powerhouse lineup of guests. 3 actors. One is actually currently on set, but I'll get to that. 3 actors who have not only made their mark in film and television, but have also shaped some of our favorite characters on screen.
Still the anthem. She paved and made her own way to Hollywood, yelling N1. System tried to charge her for speaking up. Left behind, speeding up. Passing not even enough. Needed no introduction, but she got a theme song.
Welcome to the Women of Color Unite Entertainment Pod here on Spottable, the show where we go beyond the screen and dive into the lives, careers, and stories of some of the most dynamic talent in the industry. Today, we have a powerhouse lineup of guests. 3 actors. One is actually currently on set, but I'll get to that. 3 actors who have not only made their mark in film and television, but have also shaped some of our favorite characters on screen. First up, we have Kareem Grimes, a veteran of the industry who's brought depth and authenticity to the roles in All American, SWAT, and Boys in the Hood. We also have Christopher Emanuel, best known for his electrifying role in Black Lightning. And finally, we have Damion Poitier, an actor and stuntman whose credits span from The Flash to Mandalorian, to the video game series Payday 2, and of course, our favorite bit of trivia, the legendary appearance as Thanos in the Avengers. Damion is currently on set in full mocap, motion capture, and is going to try to pop in if he can. Together, these 3 actors share a unique connection. They've all worked on WB projects. They've navigated the highs and lows in an industry, let's just be honest, it really isn't made for us. And they each bring a different perspective to the art of storytelling. So I'm going to get into the bios. Kareem J. Grimes, a Los Angeles native, began his acting career in the 90s, landing his first role as the ice cream truck kid in Boys in the Hood. Director John Singleton gave him a few lines, earning him his SAG card, Screen Actors Guild card, and launching his career. Raised with strong values, Kareem pursued acting with dedication, starring in SWAT, The Mule, and All American as fan favorite Preach. In 2023, he took his first lead role and producer credit in BET's Stay Out and brings comedy to the Vince Staples Show, guided by his motto, reach back, pull forward. He continues to uplift his community. And of course, we have Christopher Emanuel. He is an American actor who can be seen starring as lead in the Ariel Ramen, I hope I got that pronunciation right, directed Lionsgate feature 1992 alongside Tyrese Gibbons, Scott Eastwood, and of course, Ray Liotta, who has passed away. Most recently, he had a credit in the Paramount horror ensemble feature film Spin the Bottle opposite Justin Long. Previously, he can be seen in seasons 3 and 4 of the CW's Black Lightning, starring Cress Williams, Nafessa Williams, and Nafessa Williams. Chris plays the recurring role of superhero TC in the DC Universe hit show. He is set to star next to Clancy Brown in the historic period feature Kent State. All right, everybody, come on, buckle up. Nicci Freeman, you are up.
Hi, guys. How's everybody doing? How are you guys doing today?
So blessed.
Good.
What's going on, Kareem?
What's up, my brother? How you doing?
I'm blessed, brother.
Good.
Now, do you guys know each other? You guys have met, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
In Hollywood,
And-
it's very small.
and of course, you guys are both have worked on WB shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Along with Damion, who's not with us, but he's also a WB guy. What makes WB series unique?
Oh, wow. I think from what I gather, most of the shows on there are really more, I guess, a little bit of family oriented, to where, they're safe for the family to watch. Of course, Black Lightning is, part of, I guess, the DC universe. So, anytime you have a superhero TV show, you're able to, grab the attention of not only adults but kids. And with All American, it's the same thing. It's a show that's diverse, and people can relate to the characters that are on that show.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I think what makes WB a unique network is, I can only speak from my perspective. With Black Lightning, that was the first all-black superhero show ever created, and so for them to give that type of opportunity to Salima Kill and Mara Kill to be able to create a show that had such an impact on young men and women, especially people of color, was phenomenal to me. And out of all of the networks, they were the first to do it. And so shout out to WB.
Okay. Well, there we go. Have you let's go into your acting credits and things that you've done, but we all know that you guys have both worked on quite a bit. Is there any Have you ever played a role or filmed a scene that stuck with you emotionally after the camera shut off? Good or bad?
Oh, yes, absolutely. If any of you guys have seen 1992, came out in theaters in August of last year. In 1992, there was a scene where myself and Tyrese Gibson, we get pulled over by the police. And this movie is set during the Rodney King riots in the city of Los Angeles. And we get pulled over by the police in the middle of the hood. That scene felt like I was reliving continuous moments that I've experienced throughout my life. And it felt very real on set, the way I was being manhandled and talked to. And the actor who was playing the officer, he added a lot of improv that caught me off guard. And that moment will probably stick with me for the rest of my life.
Kareem, what about you?
I did a episode of Bones, and I played a young man from Sierra Leone who was an amputee. So not only doing the research about the conflict diamonds, and also why these kids were being mutilated, but their hands being cut off, arms being cut off, and having to go into that feeling of emotion of in Sierra Leone, it was like you had to make a choice. And for a kid, a young man, to have to make a choice of either working here or losing a limb, was just something that I could not fathom that, but just doing the research and watching interviews, for me, it just kind of really hit, and just having to dive into that emotion, was very interesting. And hearing about it prior to being, portraying this character was just something that, like I said, I just couldn't fathom. But I don't think it emotionally traumatized me, but it was something taxing, on me in that time that I was, doing that, portraying that character on TV.
How do you guys recover from going into that kind of an emotional state? Like, what do you do? Do you meditate? Do you exercise? What do you do?
Prayer, and definitely exercise for me, for sure.
I would say, there's the cliche answer of therapy. Not saying that therapy is cliche, but I think that's an answer that people go to immediately. I would say for me, I have to sit with myself. And I also have to remind myself that I am just an actor. Yes, I am a Black man. Yes, I am a father. I am a son. I am a brother, a cousin, all of those great things. But while I am on set and I am performing, I'm an actor. And I can't take this stuff home And we tend to take things home, and it affects our lives outside of what we're being paid to do. And so I try my best to put my all in it, but then separate myself from it, so it doesn't follow me home.
Yeah, definitely. I think once they yell cut and you leave the stage, yeah, it's definitely, I just leave that there. I make a conscious effort not to, as they say, take my work home with me.
So I'm going to lighten things up a little bit, hopefully. Tell me about your craziest audition stories. Like, what was the just outlandish thing that happened to you, or that you auditioned for, or were asked to do during an audition?
I have two. I auditioned for The Shield 17 times. So out of the 17 times, I booked, or they wrote the character out, or they went a different direction. But after the 17th time, I end up doing 3 seasons on that show. And as an actor, of course, you get frustrated. And I never forget my agent. I was just like, why do they keep calling me back? He was like, well, first of all, they like you if they keep calling you. He said, you should be concerned and be worried when the phone stops ringing. And I sat with that and I was like, oh, damn. Yeah, you're right. And then there was one audition. It was for a movie. And I think every Black actor in Hollywood was auditioning for it. And it was like way out in Ventura County or somewhere. It took like an hour, almost 2 hours. And we had to audition. And it was like this building or whatever, or it was an animal zoo or something. And we had to audition. One scene was with a python. The next scene was with a lion. And they had us in a room and they were just kind of giving us like, hey, there's going to be a live lion. We're going to put you in the back. Make sure you stroke the mane going this way. Don't make any sudden movements. We're going to have a trainer there, but just make sure you do it this way. Look, deliver your lines. It was like probably the wildest audition that I have. And it was like, it was like a snake and a lion that we had to audition with, because I guess they were just like, making sure that you were comfortable auditioning, or just making sure you were comfortable around these animals. But that's like, those are the two that stick out to me.
And so now you really want to bring home a lion and a python?
No, I mean, I'm good around snakes, but it was just like, this was like, I've never like auditioned to be like, okay, we're going to have this python around you and you have to deliver your lines. So it's just like, it's the audition process is already taxing and just crazy, but just to have that and then deliver your lines and be in the scene, it was just a lot.
Yeah, they would have had to leave me out of that one, brother. Yeah, I've never had that. That is wild. I don't think I could have done it. I would say, well, first of all, Kareem, we got beef, man, because I've auditioned for All American probably 30 times. No exaggeration.
Wow.
Test deals, deal memo, all the things. And just it never really never have aligned yet.
But they're still calling.
Yeah,
still calling. And I love my CW family, and the thing I like about the CW is a lot of the writers, like some of the writers from Black Lightning, also write for All American and vice versa. And so that was great to see, like, my Black Lightning family be able to move over, and some of them are like producers and whatnot. I would say my craziest, I only have one. I would say my craziest audition story actually happened last year. So I get a call to fly out to New York to audition in person, or to do the final callback, rather, for Spike Lee's new highest to lowest film. And so I'm hype. I'm like, I love Spike. This is it. I love Spike. I'm ready. Regardless of how this goes, this moment is going to change my life forever. I get there. Kim Coleman is there, and give her a big hug. And I'm ready. But then my fingers start sweating. I'm like, why am I nervous? I'm never nervous when it comes down to this. Why am I nervous? And it's because Spike Lee is such a giant. Well, by the time they call me and it's time for me to go in, it's about 2 other guys there. I walk in and I'm expecting to see Spike. So I've kind of like calmed myself. But when I get in the room, Denzel Washington yells out, "Look at this boy right here. You play basketball, don't you?" And I automatically got nervous all over again. And I was able to chemistry read with him and be able to dance with my GOAT, my greatest of all time, Denzel Washington. And that is still to this day the greatest opportunity I've ever had, greatest audition I've ever had. And I'm so happy how things turned out, regardless of whether I got it or not.
I'm going to tell you, I've worked with Spike quite a few times, and I'm behind the scenes. I'm like in an office back somewhere where I don't interact with him as much, and he still makes me nervous. Like whenever I get called to set because Spike wants something, I'm like, can somebody else go?
Yep. Yep. He's such a giant in our world, and just thank you, Spike Lee, for laying the groundwork to allow a lot of us to do the things that we do. So shout out Spike Lee.
I'm going to
Go ahead.
jump in, Nicci, because somebody early just asked a great question. And that's, how does an actor, especially Black actors, maintain friendships with other actors given the inherent competition or rivalry within the entertainment industry? And I talk a lot about building community. So yeah, go ahead, nephew.
Yeah. I'll say this. I don't look at anything as competition in the sense of, I hope I win, I hope you lose. No, I hope we all win. And whenever I see for instance, take Mekhi Curtis, he plays Kanan on Raising Kanan. We go out for probably all of the same things. Or Khalil Harris, we all find ourselves going out for the same roles consistently. Whenever I see that they've booked a project, I get happy. Because now I know you're busy and you're working. So the next one that comes, it'll come to me, or it'll go to Khalil, or it'll go to someone else. But I don't feel like anyone can take an opportunity from me. But then also, I have learned, especially in my career, to be inspired by the people beside me, but also the people who have gone ahead of me. And so this is where I will give Kareem his flowers, because he is a giant and he is an inspiration and a motivation to me and my peers who we have watched him and grew up on him on our televisions. And so just being able to interact with him and him give us game, that's what I appreciate the most. But also, it's not about age. I have younger brothers in this business that I go to for advice, who I look to for guidance, because of the things that they have achieved and been able to accomplish. And so I don't have competition amongst my brothers. We might go toe to toe, but ultimately who it was meant for, it will be for. And so, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Just to add on to that. Yeah, I think the only competition you have is with yourself. And then for me, like Christopher said, you see the same guys over and over again. Like, that's just what it is. When I was coming up, it was the Jaleel Whites, the Bumper Robinsons, the Merlin Santanas, rest in peace, the Lamont Bentleys, rest in peace. So these are the guys that, and then of course Michael B. Jordan, and so you see the same guys, and we're all just focused on just the audition. You know what I'm saying? Seeing each other there that's just part of the game. And all you can do is just do your best. And of course, you create these bonds and community, like you said, shows that, if somebody books it, you're happy, because it's just like, yo, like, I know them, you know what I mean? And I'm generally happy with that. And I think, for you to have longevity in this business, you have to be you have to be happy for your friends, and if they book, it's kind of like, yeah, I booked too. So you have to rejoice in their bookings and in their winnings as if you did it as well. And that's just, that's just being, just putting good energy out there. I think if you have an attitude of always in competition and, you see this person, it's just like, yo, they're doing the same thing you're doing. They're just trying to get a job. You know what I mean? And it's enough to go around. Like Christopher said, if you don't get that, it's okay. There's the next one. You just have to really take the opportunity that's given to you, make the best of it, and keep it moving. You know what I mean? And if you stay at it long enough, you'll have your time to shine as well.
I really believe in that, obviously. And the funny thing is, I'm kind of an OG here on the pods on Spottable, and I have told people that multiple times, right? That there's such a small degree of separation between us and Denzel or whomever, that especially Black Hollywood, that a lot of us do, we are in community with each other, right? We were just at the Pan African Film Festival and ran into Kareem. It's one of the reasons I love PAFF, because we're all out here working and hustling, and that's when we can get together and celebrate each other. Go ahead, Nicci.
Yeah, I actually met Kareem at an event for men's mental health, which was an interesting event, and him and Sir were very
Yeah,
gracious and lovely to the first time you meet them.
yeah,
Okay.
it was good times.
So that being said, if you could work with anyone in the industry, I mean, besides me and Cheryl, I know it's us, but anybody else, who would it be? I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm just open, of course. Of course I know I have my favorites. I would love to work with, Sam Jackson and, Viola and Meryl Streep. But I'm just, I'm just so open to whoever, God places me and leads me to in my journey, to work with. I, I would have never thought I'd work with Clint Eastwood. And I end up working with Clint Eastwood in The Mule. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm just open. I'm truly open. And whatever God has for me, I'm a roll with it.
Yeah, I honestly I would say for me, there's a list of young actors that I really want to dance with. Timothy Chalamet being at the top of that list right now. And I mean, there's just some fantastic actors who are doing fantastic, amazing things, and it's so inspiring. But also, obviously, I have my list of OGs that I would love to work with. At the top of that list would have to be Daniel Day-Lewis, because his level of like mastery when it comes down to uh, how he approaches characters, and he'll do a project every 5 years to just make sure that he's locked in. Um, yeah, I mean, it's so many people, but also I'm in the stage of my life and career where I find enjoyment making my own projects right now, and I've been able to find some amazing diamonds in the rough who have resumes who the industry just has not caught on to yet. One being Creisha Fairchild, the aunt of Trey Edward Schultz, the director from Waves. Um, she is, when I first saw her, she was 68. Now she's 73 or 74. And I was able to do a project with her that I produced. And she is a gem. She is amazing. And so just continuously finding people that I've never crossed paths with who just pushes me to be better as an actor.
Speaking of storytelling and, your own projects, is there a script or a role that you've always wanted to see on screen that hasn't been made or you feel like could be made better?
Oh yes. Funny enough, so I as a writer, I stick to romance. That's kind of my thing. Because I don't feel in recent years we've had a Notting Hill type romance drama um, in a very long time. And I feel like that 80s, 90s romance film era has been lost with like, there's nothing wrong with the romantic comedies that we push out, but I don't feel like the real is there anymore. It's all exaggerated and just fun and games, which we need that as well. But I have a couple projects that are not so feel good romance dramas, but they end well. And so I hopefully I will be making a major announcement about a new partnership that I have, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Come on,
Yeah,
give us a little bit more, Christopher. 1 second. You can't tell us a little more, Christopher? Come on. Audience is
So,
wanting.
okay. So basically the log line, I'll read you the log line for one of the projects that I wrote. So the log line is: in pursuit of genuine love, two hearts clash against the barriers of their divergent backgrounds, testing the limits of their connection and the possibilities of overcoming obstacles of class, upbringing, and societal expectations. So this is a young adult romantic drama that's going to really tackle some major issues. Um, and I want to highlight, specifically in this film, I'm going to highlight the Black father and daughter relationship, where in the house that I grew up in, my father was very close to my sisters, and their relationship was so beautiful. And is still so beautiful. And that's their safety. They find safety in my father, and they can talk to him about anything, mistakes, decisions, choices. They can come to him for advice. And I really want to highlight this as this coming of age story about this young girl who falls in love. And along that journey, she makes mistakes, and she makes decisions that makes her unsure of herself, and she turns to her father, who is her biggest voice of advice. And so that's all I can give at the moment.
Well, thank you for that snippet of what we have to look forward to. Okay, go ahead, Kareem.
I think really, black fantasy. I was just talking to a brother. He's one of the writers on The Boys, but just like, I think we need more of just like black fantasy of just like superheroes and supernatural, and just like, I think we need more of that. You know what I mean? I think that'll be super cool to be able to explore. You know what I'm saying? Black futurism. I think we saw a little bit of it with Black Panther, but I would like to see more.
Speaking of which, Kareem, what do you have coming up? And then Nicci, you can go ahead.
We are still shooting All American, so I'll be done with that next month. Also, we just finished the second season of the Vince Staples Show, so that'll be on Netflix. Probably spring, summer. What else? Just shot a McDonald's commercial, and then I have a Taco Bell commercial that I voice. I do the voiceovers for the Taco Bell commercial that's been running. And I have a project, a pilot. We shot a whole pilot, so I'm actually going to have a meeting with a prominent director and a director, writer, producer later on today about it. So yeah, just staying busy, keeping the wheels turning.
I love to hear when my brothers and
Oh
my
yeah, for sure.
mentors and family like winning. That's that.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, brother. Same to you.
Aside from acting, what's a surprising skill that most people wouldn't expect from you? And Kareem, My first question for you though is, do you still skateboard?
Ooh wee. I can still skateboard. I can still probably do an ollie, but that is about it. I can do I'm very good on the dance floor. I have mastered the Tamiya line dance to a T. So I'm very good at that. If that song comes on at a party, I'm definitely in there. For sure. For sure. But yeah.
For,
Oh
for
yeah.
many for many people that don't know, Kareem actually skateboarded his way into his career.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a young kid who was heavy into skateboards, and that's how I ended up on Boys in the Hood, skateboarding. So I was that kid that skateboarded, BMX bike, scooter, breakdancing, all the stuff that a young kid from the 80s and the 90s did. That's what I did.
Christopher, what
Shout
about you?
I was
Oh,
just gonna say,
yeah.
shout out to our knees over a certain age, still holding out. We can skateboard. Go ahead, Nicci.
Oh, please. I want to tell you that I spent my early years skateboarding, snowboarding, figure skating, doing all kinds of things, and my knees and my back remind me daily that I'm no longer that child anymore. But anyway, moving on. Christopher, what about you? What's your special hidden secret talent?
I don't know if my talents are hidden because I try my best. Honestly, I do try my best to use them all. Um, I will. I'm a singer. That's how I kind of got into the business. I'm a singer. Started on stage. Um, I play. I can pretty much play any instrument because of just being able to hear music and being able to translate it. And so I play keys. I play guitar. I can play horns. Um, Pretty much anything with a string, I can play it. But then you know what? I think I'm super excited. I have a piano drama film that I starred in where I'm playing classical music. And I do like 99% of all of the pieces. And so I'm excited about that because I think that is where my talents that I don't use as often are going to shine.
That is amazing. Simply amazing, brother.
That's
Thank you.
awesome.
It is. And if you think this audience, is going to let you get away with saying you can sing and not give us a little bit, think again. All right, nephew, pull it up. We want to hear something.
Oh, Lord. I see us in the park, strolling the summer days of imaginings in my head and words from my heart. Told only to the wind, felt even without being said. And I don't want to bore you with my troubles. But there's something about your love that makes me weak and knocks me off my feet.
Wow. I
All
can't.
right now.
All I can do is play some music and sing over the music. I sound good. I sound really good when the music's up, though, for sure.
Kareem, I believe that you can do anything. Honestly, I really do. When I I see you as that person that can literally just do anything they put their mind to. So
I
I believe.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Christopher and Kareem, since we're talking about music, what's the soundtrack of your life? What does it
Oh,
sound like?
oh my gosh. I would have to say mine is the songs in the key of life. Um, yeah, hard stop.
Mm. Wow, that's a good one. To be honest, it's 90s hip hop, Tribe Called Quest, anything Tribe Called Quest, anything De La Soul, R&B, just R&B 90s music is like the soundtrack of my life. Like uh Jodeci, Mary J. Blige. We even take it back to the earlys like Luther Vandross, Anita Baker, just those things. Like, I grew up in that era of music, and that era of music just sticks with me, and I listen to it to this day. Certain songs I can remember when I heard them for the first time and how it made me feel and where I was at in my lifetime. So like 90s hip hop, 90s R&B, 80s and 90s for sure.
What about movies? What's your guilty pleasure? What's the one that you might be a little bit embarrassed that you love so much or you watch over and over again?
I watch Pop the Balloon on YouTube. That's like
Oh
my
God.
guilty. Oh my God. I'm usually like yelling at the people who pop the balloon for the stupidest things. That and anything like, what is that, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta or Miami? Like, that's my guilty pleasure. I call it Ratchet TV.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh, you know what? My guilty pleasure, and y'all do not judge me for this. All right.
We listen and we don't judge.
Y'all might judge me on this one. I go back and watch cartoons from my childhood. It's just a piece of, like, it's like nostalgia that I just can't let go of. And so, like, Hey Arnold, I have to go back and watch, like, Hey Arnold and shows that I grew up on.
Okay,
Cartoons.
that's not weird.
Yeah, not
That
weird
is
at all.
not weird because I will still pull up Gem and the Holograms and Dungeons and Dragons
You get me? All right, I'm okay. Yeah,
and
yeah.
like I know the theme songs for like the Gummy Bears and the Tiny Toons by heart because I feel like cartoons nowadays don't have great theme songs.
They don't. I mean, we're lost in a generation of no good theme songs, and I'm hoping to bring that back. Legendary.
Okay, so let's go to cartoons. If you could recreate one of your favorite cartoons, or if you could be one of your favorite cartoons, like The Voice, or which one would it be? Who would it be?
Look,
Who would you
look,
do?
look, look. I'm throwing this out here. So, Outlier Society. Um, if y'all are listening, I want to play Static Shock, man. Like, y'all doing the live action. Let's make it happen. Like, I need to do this Static Shock thing. You know, I'm not done with my DC superhero bag yet, so I'm ready to do it. Like, just call me. I'm here.
Yeah, I think yeah, DC, anything DC. Um and Fat Albert. Like, that's what I grew up on. I would have loved
Deep cut,
I
deep
would
cut.
I would have loved to be on Fat Albert animation. Hey, 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 it's Fat. No, I'm just like
Love it, love it. Oh my god. Okay, so I have a couple of questions from the audience that
Yes.
I'm going to go back to and if I can find them. Okay, here we go from BioBaby 19. What was the moment when you said, "Yes, I'm sticking with this industry"?
Ooh. I would say I just kind of fell in it. I don't think I ever said, like, I'm sticking with it. I think I just started and never, like, considered anything else. And so I won't sit here and lie to you and say, like, there was this grand moment. I think I just was always in love with the stage, always in love with performing, and it just was a match made in heaven.
Yeah, same here. I think what it was, I tell this story. I remember it like it was yesterday. We had a field trip and we went to see a live taping of a show called Amen, and it was at the Paramount Studios, and this was like a late field trip. So this is like after school, and we saw a live taping, and I was watching the show. But as a young kid, to actually go from watching it on TV to being in the audience, seeing a live taping, did something to me that night that I can't even put in words. I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And from that point, I was just like, yep, this is it. This is it.
So this is your dream career. Is there anything you've ever wanted to try other than acting?
Nope.
I to this day, I think I want to return to music, and I have music sitting on a hard drive that I have not released, probably upwards of 50 songs or so. And so I think I'm gonna return to music and start performing live again.
We're gonna have to do a pod with Christopher Emanuel and his music. What y'all think about that? We're gonna have to do one with Christopher, because that voice that you just pulled out of nowhere, my nephew, that was
With no
beautiful.
warm up.
I know.
With no warm up. So
It's
you
gonna
have your
hurt
dream
later.
career. You have your dream career, but you both have side projects, whether they're charitable or mentoring. Speak about those a little bit.
Yeah, I'm part of a foundation called My Friend's House LA, and we feed the less fortunate every Wednesday. And I've been doing it for about 15 years. And we're right in the heart of Skid Row between 5th and 6th on San Pedro, across from Union Rescue Mission. So definitely been a part of that. Was in, I dipped and dabbed in tech. I had an app out a few years ago called Face Pop. It just allows you to be able to make self-made emojis featuring your face. And we kind of came up with this before Memoji and all this other stuff. And yeah, so I dipped and dabbed in tech. I still do a little bit. But yeah, My Friend's House, and, just using my platform to really speak to, Black and brown kids who come from situations that, they don't get to, see somebody on TV come up to their school just in person, that they can be able to just, touch and talk to and ask questions. Because, I was one of those kids. I was born in Inglewood, California, and just raised around South Central LA. So just, letting kids know, hey, I come from the same situation. I just kind of found what my passion was, and I followed that. So that's what I like to do on the side.
Yeah, I love that, bro. Definitely, and I can see that all over you, because just the way that you have mentored so many of us, just in the advice, especially during the, in 2020 when we were just waking up every day doing it.
Right.
Yeah, what a time. I have a nonprofit organization called Inspire the Fire, 501c3 out of Charlotte, North Carolina, where we inspire kids on stage and in life. It's an arts program where we allow kids to express themselves, whether you want to paint, draw, design, work in fashion, um, uh, poetry, whatever it is. We give them outlets to do so, and it has impacted over 15,000 kids in the Charlotte metro area, which has been such a big blessing, because it also had a major impact on my life, and I didn't know how much I needed it as well. And so my uncle Dennis Reed started the foundation, started the organization, and I just kind of took it on from there. And it's my baby. I love Inspire the Fire. Hoping to bring some events out to LA. We do this big experience every year where we basically put on like this massive Broadway show, allow the kids to build the sets in the state on stage, allow them to fashion design it themselves. We create a whole show, create music for the show, do dance choreography for the show, and it's like 250 to 300 kids on stage putting on this massive show every year. And so hopefully we can bring that to LA. And so I'm gonna get started on that.
So both Kareem and Christopher, drop the links for donations for your 501c3s in the chat, because I just want to say this. I've raised the most money for Women of Color Unite right here on Spoutable. We are a community. It's why we're doing these pods here. Drop it in the chat. On Give Day, you know, when you're supposed to give to all the nonprofits, we raised over $1,000 in a couple of hours. So yeah, shout out to the entire Spoutable community for that. Also, as I start bringing people up, because we're getting to that point where you can ask questions, I am going to introduce Gil. Are you ready? Gil Jackson. So you guys know we have Women of Color Unite. During the pandemic on Clubhouse, where we were all hanging out, the Black men were like, we need something. And I'm like, y'all can be our brother organization. Gil, are you available to speak? Green button at the bottom. Okay, he may have stepped away. I will give them a moment. Nicci, go ahead and ask a question. I'm going to start bringing up some of the regulars.
I'm going to ask a question from one of the audience, and we're going to move into a little bit of fun stuff. What was the guilty purchase from your first big check from acting?
Oh my God. Sheesh. I think I bought so many shoes. It was ridiculous. I was a sneakerhead, and I did Jarhead. And I remember that's probably the most money I made on a movie out the bat. And I bought tons and tons of sneakers. And I got it out my system. And I was just like, nope, can't do this again.
Yeah, taxes. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Aw.
Yeah, he's his.
Because no one warned me. I'm out here just spending money, and the IRS was like, "Yep, this is your biggest purchase yet," and woke up to have all of it gone. I said, "My Lord, please give it back." Okay, yeah, that's what happened.
Hey, Gil, are you available to speak?
Really
am.
quick,
Thank you, Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Go ahead.
Production is calling Christopher back to set. So he's going to pop off and pop back on as he can, because, you know, we like it when people are working. Unfortunately, sometimes that means they have to leave us.
Not a problem. We want us to work. We want us to work. So I am going to introduce one of the founders of Men of Color Unite, our brother organization. As you know, Kareem and Christopher both know Gil Jackson. Hey, Gil Jackson.
Hey, Cheryl Bedford. I'm going to be friendly to all of my ADA people out there. I joke, I say I'm a fluorescent beige king with fluorescent beige and brown hair. I stand at 6'2" and about 215 pounds, healthy, happy, and whole. I'm going to do something I don't normally do in public spaces, but Cheryl, thank you for always being the pioneer, the leader, and the fearless lion that holds nothing back. Kareem, brother, thank you for being you. You always hold space for every person of color. And I know we don't always get the credit, right? The good guys don't always get it. But Kareem, if you don't know him, look him up, follow him, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, IMDb. Follow this man, support him, any show. People don't realize actors don't get paid more unless the audience gives more. So support that man. The same goes for Christopher Emanuel, one of the most phenomenal humans I've ever met on this planet. Nicci Freeman, the blue-haired woman that makes things happen out of thin air. I've stood in a lot of these spaces and a lot of these places being the only person of color, and now more than ever, it is so important. Moki is going through a restructure. Our website's coming soon. You can find us on socials, Men of Color Unite. But in the meantime, the most important, powerful thing any of us can do is support one another. And when I say support one another, not just with your lips, with your actions. Kareem knows, Christopher knows, Cheryl knows, Nicci knows. Give the resource, right? Whether that's $1, $5, $10, whether it's a job opportunity, whether it's sending an email. Oh, hi, Manon, I see you there too. Whether it's speaking of someone's name in a room that they are not spoken of yet. Be the bridge, be the glue, be the connection, be the healing, be the love, be the peace, be the provision. We're going to need each other more than ever over the next 3 years. Let's make sure that when we provide for each other, it's with love. And I say that because we're seeing now what I tell a lot of people 100 years ago. We saw a renaissance, but it didn't come from us needing, it came from us having and not having. And in that meantime, there was an expression that happened and it changed the face of this planet. So over the next 3 years, let your expression freedom be yours and own it, hone it, and treat your community the way you would want to be treated or greater too. That being said, Men of Color Unite is here. We are here to hold space for our brothers, our sisters, and our allies. And we're not taking prisoners. We're moving forward. And what that looks like is building memories, legacies, and foundations that will never be erased. And on that note, Cheryl, I am done speaking.
Thanks so much, Gil. So they teased me on this app, and unfortunately, they did it in front of Manon, talking about how hard I run for Black women. That Manon has now picked up his Be Trusty, did an imitation of that. But I just wanted to say that, yes, I love Black women and I love Black men. Because y'all love to tease me about just loving Black women. I love my people. I see Nicci Barnes is away when she gets back. I'd love her to introduce herself. Keep going, Nicci Freeman.
Well, Kareem, you've been in the industry for a while. So what is a common Hollywood stereotype or myth that's actually true? And then what is one that's completely false?
Oh man, that's a good question. Wow. What is a stereotype? I mean, it's changed so much. When I was coming up in the 80s, it was like, don't look at the actor, don't talk to them, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, and that's totally changed. And I think it's all about just reading the room. You know what I mean? I think sometimes other actors, I've seen other actors just be so nervous that their nervousness comes out. So they're, hey, and it's just like, you just have to read the room. Yeah, I'm trying to think give me something that I can tell you no, that's false. That's correct.
Well, I found that being on set myself, the whole don't talk to the actors or anything is more, they're in the zone. They're trying to get into their head. They're trying to get into the emotion. They're trying to remember their lines more than they are unapproachable and mean.
Yeah. And like I said, yeah. Most of them are just.
I mean, don't get me wrong, some are, but
yeah. I think
majority.
There's actors who can turn it on, turn it off. I work with Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx will be in full conversation, cracking a joke, and then it's like, all right, sound, camera, and then he snaps into character, cut, and then he's back to finishing the story and telling jokes. So each person is different, and I just think that you just have to be able to read the room, and if they strike up a conversation, then then you go for it. Other than that, I'm trying to see what else is. Yeah, it is true. It is a lot of hurry up and wait. That is very true. Like, it is a lot of hurry up and wait. Like, hurry up, get on set, and then when you get there, you're just sitting in your chair, still maybe waiting for lighting or camera, and then you go up in there. So if you've heard that hurry up and wait, that is very, very true.
You've worked with some pretty prolific directors, from John Singleton to Clint Eastwood. Is there anyone that you are dying to work with, or actually tell us the stories of working with those two gentlemen?
Yeah, I've worked with John Singleton, that was my first, and he was amazing. I met John when he was fresh out of USC. So I think he was like 21, 22. And just being on set of Boys in the Hood, doing extra work prior to being on Boys in the Hood, but Boys in the Hood really was just like, I saw everybody black. I saw the cameraman, Charles Mills. He was a DP, you know, hair and makeup, grip, drivers. Like, it was, John employed so many people from the neighborhood, but just black people that, you know, back in the 80s, you maybe saw one or two black people. Like, literally in the 80s, you may have seen, run into maybe two or three at the most. So that was just great to see. Who else? I've worked with Sam Mendes, who won an Oscar for American Beauty. We did Jarhead together. That was amazing. Sam Mendes is what you would call an actor's director. Sam Mendes came from theater, so he was a type of director to literally, before each scene, he would literally set up the whole scene for you and tell you what's happening around you. So you as an actor can know and start preparing and getting ready. And he was just amazing. Clint Eastwood, it was like, you know, he was older. So Clint Eastwood was like, there was no action or cut. You know, it was just like, all right, roll. And then Clint Eastwood would be like, all right, that's about enough. You know what I mean? So most of the scenes that we did in The Mule were pretty much, it wasn't even on paper. It was just like improv. Like he said, this is what I'm gonna do and go with it. And I was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? And I've worked with the incomparable Charles Schultz. You know, Charles Schultz did Crush Groovin', Cooley High, The Last Dragon, and he directs on All American. So I've been fortunate, blessed to, you know, work with directors who, you know, I've seen their work, and to actually be directed by is amazing. And in the incomparable Debbie Allen. Debbie Allen taught me so much. I did an episode of the Parkers, and she directed it. And I remember to this day, I was just so used to just doing my scenes and going back to my trailer. And Debbie was like, honey, what are you doing? Where are you going? You need to stay around here in case I need you for something. And from that point on, I'll do a scene and then I'll just hang out, you know, ask questions, look, just to make myself available. So, you know, I've been blessed and truly blessed in this business to have worked with some giants.
And you started producing yourself, but have you thought about directing?
Of course. Yeah, I was directing projects back in the 90s and early 2000s before YouTube. You know, I directed a film. I wrote and co-directed a film called Jive Chicken. If anybody can find that,
I'm going to find it.
And it is hilarious. And it is about a young man who inherits a chicken wing joint and is going out of business. And it's like,
I'm finding that.
The people that work there are the characters that drive the story. But I was actually working on Baby Boy and directing and starring in that project along with my best friend Burvick Deculus. And yeah, so I've been directing for a while. And I just kind of focus more in front of the camera. But, you know, I'm in this business. So, you know, that is a natural maturation of just being in this business, of course, is to direct. So for sure.
I'm finding it.
Hey, Cheryl, I think it's on YouTube. You might be able to pull up a clip
Share it
for
with
us.
us, Chris. I need that in my email.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. You shouldn't have said that, Kareem, because now I'm going to post that on Instagram.
Kareem's going to have a renaissance of people watching Jive Chicken.
Exactly. It's as we say, it's going to be a hood classic.
That is hilarious, yo.
And do you prefer being behind the camera or in front of the camera? And so funny because Bio Baby just asked the same question.
Yeah, I love being in front of the camera. It is an absolute it's joy. Like it's anybody that knows me, when I'm on set, I'm literally at my happiest. Like there's nobody that can knock me off my square. There is nothing that can get me to teeter off the pure joy and happiness that I get while being on set doing what I love.
Oh, do we have any questions from the group?
I got a
Anyone?
question for Kareem, Nicci, while I'm here before my phone rings.
Please, please.
So, Kareem, brother, we know this is a marathon, right? Direction is more important than speed. What would you say is the best wisdom that has ever been passed on to you that you want to share with other people in your career?
Oh man, it's a good question, Gil. Patience, enjoying the process of it, the good and the bad. And what I mean is that, if you have a bad audition, it's kind of like being in sports. When you have a bad play, you have to get ready for the next play and erase that. Because as artists, we're hard on ourselves. There's been times where we'll go into an audition and we'll be like, once we leave, you're like, God dang it, I wish if I would have made this choice or if I did that. And I think it's just like you have to have a short-term memory, but learn from it, and just prepare for the next one. But definitely be patient, enjoy the process, because I think once you're able to do that, you'll be able to treat this industry and treat the craft in a way to where you're respecting it and you're not abusing it and you're not doing anything that will knock you off your square. We have so many actors who, have rose to this stardom and fame, and they messed it up by bad decisions and choices. And I just feel that you have to really go through that grind. You got to really go through it to fully understand and really embrace it and understand, like, me being in this business and me getting this job is a blessing. And I can't take it and I can't treat it. I can't treat it in a negative way. There were many times that, I tell people all the time, I worked 3 jobs up until maybe the 3rd season of All American. You know what I'm saying? Yes, gratitude. And when you get to that point where acting is your main source of income, it takes a big load off your back. Because you're like, all right, I got to do this audition, then I got to go back to this job. You know what I mean? So when you get to that point where acting is your main source of income, you treat it as such, because the struggle of, having to tell your boss, can I get a longer lunch break because I got to go hit this audition. If I come back, I'll definitely do an extra 2 hours. Like, that's what I was doing. But I had to get to that audition, because I knew that this job was just a stepping stone to where I'm trying to get to. You know what I mean? So definitely patience, definitely enjoying the process. Because once you enjoy the process, you'll be able to enjoy and reap the benefits of that and sticking with it.
From your
I love
previous
that,
jobs
Kareem.
that from your previous jobs that you worked when you were working 3 jobs, did you learn anything that from those jobs that you brought into your current career?
Absolutely. I've learned from every job, and I've used that to my benefit, and just in life in general, and how I approach, being a team player. When you're on set, you got to be a team player. It's not about you. It's about the cast. What can I do? What can I bring to this that's going to help my scene partner? You know what I mean? Like, all the jobs that I've had have taught me something. You know what I mean? Being consistent, showing up on time. Like, literally showing up on time. Having 3 jobs, you got to show up on time. So I use those things in my everyday life. Communicating and, like I said, being a team player, and just and being prepared. That is, those are the things that I've taken, with me on my job, and being grateful, man. I think sometimes that's what I wanted to tell you, Nicci, is you see a lot of spoiled actors and complaining. Like, some of that is true. You know what I mean? Like that is a thing that I've seen. And until you get that taken away from you and you got to work a job that you got to do it to pay the bills. But once you get to that position where you're like booking, you're like super grateful, because while I was at the job, I was always envisioning myself on set doing what I love. It got to the point where I would be so, with my visions, I would be so thorough and specific. I'm talking about the type of day, the car that I was in, what I was wearing, the road, the street that I'm taking to get to the studio, and those things made my days go by a little bit better. It brought happiness, because I literally was visualizing myself driving to set, parking in my stall, walking to my trailer, letting the PA know I'm here, getting dressed in my trailer, going into the works, which is hair and makeup. Like I literally visualize those moments. And that's what helped me.
I think there is a little bit, and this actually goes back to what we talked about, Hollywood misconceptions. There's a misconception that, of actors being spoiled when, being behind the scenes, I see it. I see some people as spoiled. I'm not going to lie. But I also see some people as, this is like their comfort thing that they do that makes them comfortable, that gets them into their role. And I'm not going to lie. There are certain things that over the years, me personally, you know, uh, because I'm in the DGA, they have to fly me first class. I cannot tell you how bitter I am when I'm in coach. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, when I have to like fly myself coach, I'm mad because I'm so used to being, treated a certain way when I'm working. And so I feel like some people are grateful about of those things that they're, given when they're working. And some people just take that for granted and turn it into a bad trait in their personality.
Nicci Freeman, you do not fly coach. Shut up.
Hilarious.
I did.
Hilarious.
Why, Kareem, why she started?
Listen, Nicci, I'm telling you, it wasn't until the third or fourth season of All American, besides booking and production flying me first class, is where I literally was like, I'm making some money and I fly first class. And when I got a taste of that, I was like, ooh, I can't deal with coach. There's so much suffering back there. Close that curtain.
Okay, I'm old and things hurt. I cannot be bent up like a pretzel.
It's like, oh, this orange juice tastes so much better in first class.
I know for a lot of these people, for people listening, y'all like, that's some first world problem. We don't care. We not flying coach. We old. We do have disposable income. We are not flying coach. Okay.
Also, I don't have children. I have a passport with stamps in it. Those are my children. But speaking of passport, where has production taken you, or yourself taken you, that you want to go back to, or like new favorite place in the world?
I was just in Vancouver, Canada for the first time for the Vince Staples show. So that was cool. It was super cold. I had a good time, but it was just like flying into Canada was just, after I landed, it was just so much. Like I had to go to, I had to show paperwork to get my work permit or visa, whatever it is. Like that was like a 30-40 minute scenario before I was able to get out the airport. But Vancouver, Canada, Mexico, and those are pretty much it. I mean, as far as out of the country, I'm definitely looking forward to, maybe shooting in Africa, Europe. That's definitely on my vision board to be able to, shoot a project in Africa.
I'm going to jump in here. I got a clip from All American. So if any of you guys want to ask any questions, go for it. I'm going to pull up the clip of Kareem in All American.
Look, I don't know why you and Cooper still beefing, and honestly, I don't care. But I know this much. If you're lucky, that's if you're lucky, you might get 3 real friends your entire life. I'm talking about sandbox. Day ones, ride or dies. Always there no matter what type of friends. Do everything possible to keep them in your circle.
Wow.
Wow. Who are your 3 friends?
Oh my goodness. My boy Bervik. He's a film writer. He's a writer director. Who else? My boy KB. I have so many like tight day one sandbox friends. But that comes out, and then my boy Darius. He's my neighbor. He lives across the street. He's been my neighbor. We grew up together. So yeah. But I have literally I have so many like sandbox day one tight friends that that I talk to, on the regular. I may not talk to them every day, but it's family. And I remember that scene like very, very vividly. Like I know the type of headspace I was in, and we actually had a good time shooting. I think I pride myself. I think we did that in like 2 takes.
That's I find that once you get older, you have friends that are your sandbox friends, but you can sometimes not talk to them for months on end. And then you make that call or they call you, and it's like you haven't, like you
Yeah,
spoke last week.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely correct.
Nicci, who are your ride or dies?
Oh, no, no, it's you and Tyler and my friend Heather, who I literally watched her kids grow. I was at her wedding, watched her kids grow up, watched her go through this whole arc. And she is one of those people that I talk to, like, we'll talk to for, weeks on end. And then both of us get busy at work and won't talk to her for 6 months. And the next day it's, that call comes and we're blah, 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 blah. And then there's Tyler who is trying to take me out of the States back to Mauritius. To work there.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, Kareem, the reason I pulled that clip, there were other clips, but that one actually spoke to me. Let's talk. What was your headspace? You said you remember what your headspace was that day. What was your headspace that day?
Yeah, I think it was just, number one, just being prepared, coming to set, and just making sure that I do my part to keep the day going, meaning that we're not spending a lot of time on this scene. Because I know for our show, they may allow, 40 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour to just shoot that scene. So just coming in the headspace of just being prepared, knowing my lines, but also too, just really understanding the text and what was written, and that it was just true, and just drawing from my own experiences, and just kind of making sure that I bring that to that character and to that scene, just to keep it grounded, and just for people to really connect with it. That's where my headspace was just literally being prepared, but also just really like coming across as grounded and natural as possible for people to, connect and feel it.
No, I absolutely felt that. I was going through lots of clips on YouTube, and there was just something about that, right? Especially in our town where there are so many, let's just be honest, people who, sort of glob on when you're making it, or, all of those things, and to have your ride or dies, especially within this industry, and people that we trust, right? I think that's the thing. Trust.
Yeah, for sure. That plays, that is at least 90% of it. That is 90% of it, is the trust. I have to, when we're in a scene, I have to be able to trust my scene partner. It is like a dance, and we have to lean on each other, and there has to be trust there.
What a lot of people that are in the pod that don't work in the industry don't realize is our days are very long. And so when you have somebody like Kareem who comes in prepared and ready to go, it doesn't just make the scene better, but it it translates to the rest of the crew and the cast, kind of making their day better.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Like, I've prided myself on being the closer, because sometimes it just depends how many scenes I have for the day, but they usually have my scenes at the end because they know that I'm going to come in prepared, hit my mark, say my lines, hit my marks, get in and get out. So I definitely take pride in that. And I try to keep that same energy even if I'm not on All American, and, not getting lazy on what's gotten me here, but really taking that no matter where I go, what set I go to, just to make sure that I'm prepared. I know my lines, I hit my mark, so we can keep this thing going.
And I want to say, to Nicci's credit, because Nicci and I work for each other, and Nicci Freeman makes my job so much easier. So I wanted to give her a shout out.
As do you.
but really, you do, because Nicci is a DGA UPM. She's a line producer. She's a producer. So even though if I'm a producer and she's a line producer on a show, or I'm the line producer and she's a UPM, when things get heavy, I know that there are times when I can ask her to step in and do, help me with my job, as well as knowing that she's got her job down pat. And I think that that's why a lot of us like working together, because of that trust factor. When we were doing the bonus content for Cross, Nicci was the first one in. And I knew that I didn't have to. I could spend my time on meetings, Jesus Christ, more meetings and more meetings, and that I didn't have to be the first person on set, because I knew once I got there that she would have everything, make sure Teamsters were up, everything was set. So that trust factor is really, really important in the jobs that we do.
Aw. Now I'm embarrassed. There is, though, a thing that we do have to work harder and know more than other people in the industry. For instance, for production, we have to work harder. We have to know more.
Mm-hmm.
I have to read every single union guideline, et cetera, and know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that same pressure in acting? Like you have to be 3 times better to get half as far?
I don't know if you have to be 3 times better. I think you just have to have the sheer belief in yourself. And but there's so much more that goes into it. It's about being nice, and you know what I mean? Like, that's a lost art of just being nice, and being coachable, and being able to take direction, and so it's all those things. And I think just those basic things keep you in this game for a very long time. You're UPM. I'm pretty sure you don't want to work with a jackass. That's a headache.
No.
That's a risk. You know what I mean? You rather work with somebody that is going to make your job easier. That's not going to give you any, chaos while you're on set, on top of what you're dealing with already. So you tend to want to work with dope individuals. You want to work with good people, and
I
that's
mean,
what
my
it's
favorite
about.
people are still the people that will come and have lunch with the crew.
There you go. There you have it. You know what I mean? So I think just those things keep you working, and you know what I mean, you don't have to be as 3 times as good. It's just just be good. Just be good and be humble and speak and not feel that you can't talk to somebody below the line. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's all those things that I just said that keep you in this business for a very long time. Nobody wants to work with an asshole. Period.
Hey,
I'm
Rashida,
gonna
are you there?
explain.
One
Oh,
quick second. Rashida, are you there? Because she was dropping stuff in the chat. She may have gone back to work. She's like, all right, preach. You there?
Hold on, I got all kind of stuff playing and going on in the background. Good afternoon. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Nicci. Hi, everybody in the pod, and nice to meet you two gentlemen. Oh my gosh. I am a watcher of the All American, and I was so prepared to hate me some preach. But then he's like my favorite. I'm like, oh my God, he is in
Thank
this
you.
pod.
Thank you.
Yeah, I keep trying to tell everybody, especially in the morning commute and other pods, we don't bite in the entertainment industry unless you pay us really, really well. We don't bite. So feel free to ask any questions, drop them in the chat. Those on stage, feel free to jump in. We don't actually, but Nicci, do we bite?
I kind of do sometimes.
Gil, do we
Actually, I
bite?
bark. I bark.
Gil, do we bite?
Do you want me to answer this in public, Cheryl? Because if we have an orangutan for a leader of the executive branch, I'm gonna mute. 'Cause, yeah.
That's a private pod. When we talk shit about people in the entertainment industry.
No, we don't bite unless you pay us a lot of money and we have insurance and an intimacy coach. Does that answer your question, Cheryl?
I was going
I will say one of another big misconception about in Hollywood is and this is a generalization. I just want to start this with a generalization, but I found that the people that play the most evil people on screen are actually the nicest people in person, and
Yeah,
vice versa.
yeah, for sure. For sure. I can definitely, yeah, I can the people that I've worked with, yeah, I can attest to just the people that I've worked with. Now, I've heard other stories, but just from my personal experience, yes.
I think
They're
it's because they get to let all their evil out.
yeah, for sure. For sure. For sure. They tap into something that they, that they kept dormant, but it allows them, this is the vehicle for them to be able to get those things out.
And real quick,
Where do you tap?
one quick, Nicci Barnes, are you back? I saw that you no longer have a way. Again, queen of Spottable for my team, WOCU, MOCU. Please follow Nicci Barnes. Like we I can imagine if Nicci was in Hollywood. But anyway, hello, queen of Spottable.
Well, Cheryl, I see that you are back at your shenanigans. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Spoutable. Welcome to the pods. I've been listening for a little bit, but I've also been multitasking on calls as well. But so happy to hear from you guys and hear your stories and your background. It's a different part of Black people that we get to learn more about each other. So super excited to have you here. Thank you for coming over and joining Cheryl for this pod. Thank you, Cheryl, for hosting. Hey, Nicci. But yeah, this is exciting. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm always going to give you your flowers, Nicci Barnes, because the morning commute really set off a lot of these pods. I am a staunch member of the morning commute. You can find me in there in the mornings because I get up really, really early. But Nikki Barnes has to give more love to the East Coast because she shuts down that pod at 8 a.m. our time. I mean, West Coast, because she shuts down that pod at 8 a.m. our time when some of us are just getting up. So we're going to have to convince her, my Hollywood people, to just keep it open a little while longer so we can come in there and do what we do and cause some shenanigans. But yeah, show some more love to the West Coast. That's all I have to say. Back to you, Nicci Freeman.
What do you have any hobbies? What do you do for fun?
Oh wow. I have a I have a vintage Volkswagen bus. It's a 23 window that I love taking
Nice.
on the weekends and just riding out. What else? What else are my hobbies? I'm a retired sneakerhead, but every now and then I'll buy something that I really like. Other than that, I think, I love giving back to my community. Like, I spend a lot of time just in the South Central East Side of town, really just kind of giving back. I know how much of an impact it made in my life. So, I just told myself if I ever get to a point, quote, I'm doing my fingers, just being a face or a recognizable face to be able to use that to, go into the neighborhoods and, be accessible to the point of just like, yo, like I came from the same beginnings as you. I wasn't born with a silver spoon or a gold spoon. It was probably a wooden spoon or a plastic spoon. But just knowing that, this is what I did to avoid the gangs, or, this is what you can do to get yourself out of this situation. Where you start, where you're born at and where you're at doesn't define who you are. But just like I said before, just finding your passion, finding something that you're passionate about, will take you far. So I really love just, giving back and I get a joy out of that.
Kareem, I have a question for you for what you just said. How did you stay out of gangs? We know a lot of people know about gang culture from film and television. How did you stay out of the gangs?
My story is I probably was in a gang for all of maybe 8 hours. And my boy was this cat. He was like, "Man, we about to go over here and beat up these dudes." And I was like, "Well, they didn't do nothing to me. I don't know them." I was like, "No, I'm a stick back. I'm not gonna do that." But my mom kept me busy. I grew up in the era where it was gang banging at its highest in the 80s and in the 90s. So for me, my mom kept me very busy with sports, organized sports, baseball, football, basketball, acting class, dancing class. So that kind of kept me from hanging out in the streets. And then I had family, I had a village, I had buddies that I knew gangbang, that knew that, I wasn't about that life. So they kind of look after me. And it's fun fact, Preach is based off of two guys that I still talk to today who were in my neighborhood, who looked after me to make sure that I didn't get into that life. And I still talk to them to this day. Like they are my OGs. They are my big bros. And that is like my homage to them with Preach.
Miss K has a question. Hey, Miss K. Miss K has a question.
Hey, Nicci. Hey, Nicci Barnes, Nicci Freeman. Hey, I have a question. Because people always fan out sometimes about people in Hollywood. So I ask because it's a double question. Because we do in our morning commute pod and then just in general, we talk about a lot of the shows that we like. So if anybody asked this question earlier, look, I was working. These people expect me to work here. Do you have a favorite shows, like your can't miss shows, that you have to watch? Do you have that? And who are the celebrities that when you see, you might fan out over? And any of y'all can answer that question.
Oh man, I'm heavy right now on Paradise. The Boys that come on Amazon Prime, Gen V. I was a big Atlanta fan. What else? Just off the top. And man, I don't know if I would fan out because, like I said, I've been in this business for a very long time. Like I've met some folks. I think for me, it would just be not a fan out moment, but just really giving them their flowers of how they inspired me and how I enjoy their work. That's what it would be for me.
Okay, who is it?
I mean, of course, Denzel Washington. I've met his wife, Pauletta, but Denzel, definitely Sam Jackson, Meryl Streep, Viola Davis. Who else? Off the top.
You said Daniel Day-Lewis earlier, brother.
No, that was what's his name? Christopher said Daniel Day-Lewis.
My bad.
No, it's all good. I mean, listen, I love Daniel Day-Lewis, but yeah, like just off the top, those would probably be Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright is probably one of my favorite actors. Like, hands down, Jeffrey Wright is a chameleon. Jeffrey Wright is at the top of my list.
Agent Carlos has a question for you. Carlos?
Hey, everyone. Hey, good afternoon. Kareem, I wanted to know, how do you, when you get a script and it's time to, start crafting a character, how do you attack that script? What is your process? And then just a follow-up on that, like, what for you separates a good script from a great script?
Good question. For me, I read the script several times. Because I'm probably not going to catch it in the first try or the first run through. So I read it a few times and then I start marking my script and just kind of making mental notes. That's my process. And what makes a good script from a great script? Like, literally, you start reading the words and you just kind of know you kind of know the dialogue or how the scene's gonna go, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. And it's a feeling. It is a feeling that when you're reading something and it's really good, and you can literally, as you're reading, you can see the scene play out in your mind. That's what it is. That's what it's just like, oh, okay. Some of them you'd be like, I can't, where's this going? I can't visualize it. But when it's when it's great, you'll be able to read. As you read, you'll be able to see the scenes play out in your mind as you're reading it.
Have you ever had a scene play out differently than what you read on the page or what you envisioned, that was where you were like, I can't believe we went this way, but it's better than what I thought?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's just being open as an artist. And that's part of the collaborative effort. And you have to be open. You can't just go into a scene just thinking it's this one way. And that's what I said earlier about being, open for, direction and being coachable and being open, because when you allow yourself as an artist to be open, you'll find yourself like, going places that you never thought that you were going to go, or even thinking going into it, be like, oh, well, I didn't even think of it that way. You know what I mean? But you have to be open to that.
There's a lot of talk like in interviews, you hear a lot of actors talk about actors, directors. And as a lot of our listeners aren't in the industry, can you speak on the difference between an actor's director and a technical director or a story director? Like,
yeah. I mentioned Sam Mendes. He won an Oscar for American Beauty. He is an actor's director. And what I mean by that, Sam came from stage. So different directors, there's just different directors, how they approach things. Sam, when we were doing Jarhead and we had to do this scene with the Highway of Death, literally Sam walked us through the whole, as far as like what he was going to capture, what he's trying to capture. So he's like, yo, there's a car on fire here. There's a body hanging out. And, as we go, there still may be, people shooting at you guys and, just kind of really breaking down the scene. So now, as an actor, like, okay, these are my circumstances. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm trying to get to. And then you have some, directors who, they kind of leave it up for you, to say, hey, what do you think we should do? Or what were you thinking in this moment? And, they'll say, hey, let's go with that. You know what I'm saying? And then, you have some directors who just, they're more technical. So they have a vision in their mind of how you approach things and how you do it. And that's fine. And, that's all about being open. So each director is going to be different. So you just have to be able to adjust and be open at all times and not just go in with one mindset or one choice. But, definitely pulling out choices out of your bag. I know for me, I never do the same scene the same way. I try to give them something different to where it's like, you get 3 or 4 takes or whatever of something totally different. And then you as a director can, choose from that.
awesome. I have one last, we have another question from the audience. Early Hominid has been throwing questions in the chat. And so I'm going to let you ask your question yourself.
Hello, everyone. And thank you for taking my question. As I'm listening to you all, I have this visual in my head, actors in media interviews and how sometimes they're very uncomfortable when questions are asked. So how difficult is it to answer questions in an interview when you've had a bad experience on set or with a particular actor or some other entertainment professional? Is that where your acting skills come into play? Thank you.
I was just asked this in an interview. Well, I was just asked this, and out of my 30 plus years, I'm trying to see if I've ever had, or I haven't experienced a bad moment on set. Like I said before, I'm at my happiest, so there's nothing you can do that can knock me off my square. Have I seen actors blow up at other people? Yeah, of course. But it didn't involve me. So if it don't involve me, I don't get involved. But there have been some, interviews where they're baiting and you just have to listen and be ready for it. And I think for me, just paying attention and listening to what they say, you just, the improv does, you got to be quick on your feet, and you don't want to get caught up in something that, a journalist or somebody is trying to bait you into. So there's ways around it. Sometimes it's politically correct, and sometimes it's just like, yo, I gotta check you on that. Like, no, we're not going there. And I'm not about to be involved in what you're trying to bait me into.
Somebody, I looked in my question, somebody DM'd me this question, and they want to know, how do you combat actors and actresses who don't like folks who look like us? Have you had that experience? And if you have, how have you, dealt with it?
So you saying actors that don't like us, like They don't like black people or what?
Yeah, like actors who, think that we're stereotypic or whatever. Have you ever run across, let's say, somebody who doesn't look like us that, isn't necessarily nice? Because I'll be honest, in production, Nicci and I have both had that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's more, like I said, during the 80s, it was totally different. Because the 80s, the roles that were given were thug, gangster, pimp, abuser. You know what I'm saying? And I was young then, so knowing what I know now, I haven't, because I don't go for that. Like I'm gonna check that at the door. And I like I said, I haven't had it probably when I was younger and just oblivious, but as of in my grown man phase now, I haven't had that. And being on a hit show and doing things, I don't think as an actor, I haven't had it recently or probably within the past 10 years. I'm pretty sure you guys see it more on the back end of production more than anything, because the actor is like, if you're a main actor, if you're a guest star or whatever, that doesn't really come down your way, because you can either, go to somebody, or hell, you can call SAG and be like, hey, the treatment that I'm getting right now ain't right, and have a rep there on set immediately. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure you guys see it on the back end production wise versus an actor in front of the camera.
Do you notice it though? Then when I'm always curious when there's like possible chaos going on behind the scenes. Do you notice it?
Yeah,
Or
of course. Yeah.
do we isolate you guys, or like put you guys in the bubble enough that
No,
you're
you'll see it. You'll see it. I've listened. I've heard it. I've heard it and seen it. You know what I mean? And you just have to be professional on your end. I've seen PAs get a lot of crap. You know what I mean? And for me, that I take so much pride in. I know you're a PA. I know you're doing the grunt work and all this, but you don't have to ask me what I want for breakfast. I'll go and get it myself. You know what I mean? Like, I literally tell PAs, like, how can I make your job as less stressful and easy while we're here today? Like, I can go get my own water. I can go get my snacks. You know what I mean? Like, do something that you have to do. I don't want you waiting hand on foot on me. And that's why I love what I do, because I love all of it. I love going to craft services and getting my own stuff, because I know when I wasn't on set and I was working a job, it was just like, damn, I wish I can just walk to Crafty and get some trail mix. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just like, I just try to make everybody's job easy. And that starts with the PA. That's probably the first person I see. And I just want to make sure that, they are able to do their job and not have to worry about me.
I love my PAs. One of the things that I love about Cheryl and working with Cheryl is neither one of us lets people beat up on our PAs. We will stand 10 toes down in front of our PAs, and you can beat up on me. I get paid for you to beat up on me.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing too. I was, once again, I've worked on Master Chef for probably 7-8 seasons. And this is while I'm shooting All American. And I was a talent wrangler. And I went back to that when we had the strike. So I know what that feels like. You know what I mean? When we were during the strike, I was in Milwaukee working on Top Chef as a talent wrangler. making sure the talent is not doing any funny business in the hotel. So I would do overnights at the hotel. So I know what it feels like being a PA. And that's why I approach it in a way. And that's how I treat PAs is like, yo, I get it. I understand it. I was you. And I know how hard it can be.
I think what all of this boils down to is be nice, be kind. That is why I'm so grateful to the community that I have in the entertainment industry. Nicci, Kareem, Tyler, Gil, Manon was on here earlier. Brendan Gilbert, who was last week and came in just to support. She had to hop off for a call, as did Manon. Is that I am very, very grateful for the community that I have in the entertainment industry, because it is not for the weak. It is difficult, right? Going on 17 auditions, as Kareem said, like it can beat you down. And I am so incredibly grateful for the community that we have in the entertainment industry. So with that, I want to thank all of our guests. First of all, my co-host, Nicci Freeman, is one of my ride or dies. She stepped in as director of events and has just been absolutely amazing. Nicci hates it when I put her on the spot. The Morning Commute and Christopher Boozy give me a lot of kudos for bringing people to this app, helping this app. But I need to give all the credit to Nicci Freeman for putting all of these entertainment pods together. We will be back in 2 weeks. We're trying to figure out whether we're going to do stunts, whether we're going to have directors. We'll see what we do in 2 weeks, but we'll let you all know. But Nicci Freeman, this is as much your pod as it is mine. And I, in front of everybody, I just want to thank you for your hard work, your dedication. I could not have asked for a better director of events. Thank you.
Cheryl, I wanted to say something to give credit to Kareem, and he said it earlier, but he's such a pro. Brother, you said something earlier. He said he doesn't stand for that. And I think and believe it's only in these types of communities where we advocate for people standing up for themselves. There was a period in the industry, even when I was coming up between like the 90s and the 2000s, where it was weird. It's like, what do you say? What do you not say? Right. But people have become more educated. And I've seen it where there's been an opportunity, such as, this lovely woman named Viola Davis, where Meryl Streep spoke up for her. And if you ever have the opportunity to advocate for someone, do it. So I've seen people, like Kareem said, treat PAs badly. They're like, hey, what's going on? Oh, such and such, they didn't do it. Hey, what? Okay, let me see. You have to be the bridge. And that's what I said earlier when I came in here. And I think it's educating people. Cheryl, you said it earlier, really being kind. And the reason why Kareem will never get treated ill. I see Damien's back in, so I'll be quiet shortly. But the reason why Kareem doesn't get treated ill is because his circle knows, don't even let that get close to Damien's front or back porch. So people know who to respect because they know it's not going to be accepted or tolerated.
There's Damien.
Hey.
Yay!
All right, we got there. Whew, it's a lot of movement to get here, but I'm glad I finally made it.
Are you still in mocap costume?
Oh yeah, now I'm in full costume, sitting in my car out front while they work. Joining you guys.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, even late. And for those that were not here at the beginning, Damion Poitier is also was also an actor on a WB show. Does a lot of sci-fi stuff and motion capture. And my favorite trivia is he was the first Thanos in the Avengers. That epic turn. And by the way, that was makeup. That was not all CGI. So can you tell us what you're working on now? No, because I know you're working on sci-fi, so it's probably something that you can't talk about.
Yeah, we're NDA, of course. They don't until we get a little further down the line with it. But it's going to be pretty cool, I can tell you that. I'm excited to be working on it. So
Can you tell us if it's Marvel or DC or anything, Damion?
Independent game, unlike anything that's been done before.
Ooh.
Well, I'm sorry. There's one thing that's been done like it before, which led to this game being made. So, but an entire game like this has not been done yet. That's about all I can say without getting in trouble.
Those wonderful
media training. We love this media training, Cheryl. This is
right?
a 101 masterclass.
So, Kareem, you actually said you met Damion. Where'd you meet Damion?
I met Damion during Jarhead. We worked on Jarhead together.
That's right, man. That goes back. Heck yeah, man!
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, man. It was good times. Was good times. That was when you worked on a film for like 6 months,
right? Yeah, that was back in the good old days when they
exactly.
Yeah. It was funny because we only had a couple of scenes on that. They were talking about carrying the character through because Sam liked us so much, and then didn't, which also is a thing that happens quite a bit.
Yeah. I remember when I met John Krasinski, and John Krasinski was doing maybe 2 days on that movie.
Right.
And then boom, John Krasinski, blows up.
Right. It's all right place, right time. You know what I mean? You have to have yourself prepped for the opportunity. And when it comes up, you gotta just sprint.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's all. And you never know when your number's gonna come up, and you never know. I found success in the oddest places. Like Nicci and I met on a video game web series shoot.
Yes, Payday 2.
Yeah, Payday 2. And that was a web series we did. It was a low-budget web series we did that ended up being a 10 to 13-year gig for me. And
yeah, it's a huge game.
Yeah. It took me to Sweden. It took me to Australia. It took me to Spain off a low-budget web series. So you just never know. You never know where the opportunity is going to take you or what opportunity you're being presented with.
No, absolutely. For sure. Yeah. Like Damon said, like when you get it, you got to sprint towards it. Don't be hesitant. Don't be nervous. Like literally go out with a bang.
It's funny because I've recently started listening to more performers podcasting, and the amount of us who are just go and figure it out as you go. Like I really thought there was more preparation, but the thing is, you can only prepare so much, and you never know what's going to be on your plate. So you do what you do so that you can get it done, but then you have to be loose enough to make it work.
Yep.
And I don't know what you guys have already gone over, so I hope I'm not retreading anything or coming in hot and off topic.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of kind of pivoting and doing crazy things out of nowhere. During the pandemic, you took up horseback riding.
Yes.
As a mental health help for you. And you have your buddy Sammy that is constantly on your socials.
Mm-hmm.
And you are also working on putting together a documentary on Black cowboys throughout time.
That will be part of it. It's actually just equestrianism in general, because I know Jordan's putting together a specific Black cowboy one. So I'm going to broaden the scope of my documentary and just go horsemanship, because think about it. The very, very way that we measure mechanical power is horsepower. That's like the unit of mechanical energy that we use. So like horses are so intrinsic to the advancement of humanity, and I think a lot of people either forget that or didn't know that, or it's not really pushed. So there will be a lot of Black cowboy stuff in it, but I'm not going to stay specifically just to Black cowboys, because like I said, Peel is doing an entire documentary, and I'm sure that's going to be amazing. So that will be touched upon, but I want to touch upon like the bond, the different ways they've affected humanity, how fragile they are. And there's a lot of different places that use horses in counseling, in healing, and in mental health efforts. They're amazing creatures that used to be 95% of the population, or let's not quote it, but a large percent of the population had access to, and now it's down to like between 1% and 5% of the population have access to and know about horses, and that's insane.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think I might have learned it from you was that our railroad tracks are based on horse carriages from the Roman times.
Yeah. Yep. So railroad tracks, the original street lights, the height of street lights were so that you could stand up on the carriage and light them. The width of roads, when you think about what else, so many different things are the width of roads are from horses. The flying sidekick, one of the most famous kicks in martial arts, which is comes from Taekwondo, was to knock soldiers off their horses. So
I'm going to interrupt you really quick because Kareem needs to go, and just want to say goodbye to him, and then we will come back to that. Kareem, thank you so much for participating and being here and sharing your insights. Cheryl?
Yeah, no, I was wrapping up when Damion came in. Kareem, thank you so much for joining us today, hanging out the entire time. Thank you, Kareem, for joining us today. He may be away from his phone right now, Nicci.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Kareem just texted me and said he had to jump on a call. Yeah. So, Damion, horses. I do want to point to everybody following your horse, Sammy, who is having some medical issues. So, everybody follow him. Make sure that you give him love.
Yeah, the horses, like I said, horses are surprisingly fragile for as large and strong and as capable as they are. And my horse has two specific conditions. One is like basically horse diabetes, and the other one is a degenerative ligament situation. So it's pretty bad. And one of the reasons I'm doing the documentary was I was thinking, how can I? Every time I post Sammy, I get a lot of hits and a lot of questions and comments of people who have really no knowledge about the questions. And that's why I wanted to do the broad form of the documentary of covering quite a few topics instead of just sticking to one specific one that's already being covered. And so the idea is to go through his healing journey and to also speak on, like I said, how horses have healed and helped and advanced humanity in general. And the easiest way to do all of them combined is to crowdfund it, because his situation is a little time sensitive. So by crowdfunding it, I can start immediately, as opposed to walking around pitching it and trying to get things going that way, and then having someone else tell me what the subject matter of the documentary or how the documentary should go. So this way I get more control. I can more directly respond to the questions I know I'm getting, and I can address, the things that have come up in my question experience.
A couple of things. First of all, send Nicci the link, or Nicci, have you dropped it yet for the crowdfunding?
I have not.
Okay, and so that we can get everybody on there. And I actually brought up Susan because she asked ligaments. Susan is our animal expert. Hey, Susan.
Oh, nice.
Hey, it's lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time. I am a horse person, well, an animal person in general. I've competed horses, so I was just curious if that was Cushing's you were talking about, and what ligament you were having a problem with.
It's actually DSLD.
Oh,
and it's his hind. Both his hinds are pretty much at 90 degrees now. So to explain that is super quickly. So horses walk on their toenails, and when they step, the foot flexes, and basically the ball of the foot comes down and then goes back up. And when they have something like DSLD and a ligament disease like that, the foot flexes down and then doesn't come back out, and that pulls their entire body out of alignment, which is quite painful. And if you keep them as comfortable as long as possible, but it's traditionally not something that can be healed.
Do they have a surgery for that, like they would with the check ligament?
Not really, no, because it's degenerative. Even if you do a surgery, you're just kind of prolonging it. You want to do like stem cells. There's red light therapy. There's PEMF. There are some treatments that can mitigate it quite well. Stem cells have a 77% improvement in a lot of horses. So that's a big one I'm really looking into, and some other things to try to give him a little more longevity.
Definitely try that, because I know people have had success with that with other things. But God bless you for everything you're doing and bringing attention to those things. And I wish you the best with your horse.
Thank you, Susan. We lost Damion again. I don't know if he had to go back to set, but Kareem is back. Now Damion is back. Kareem, we all just wished you the best and gave you all your flowers before you had to go. And so, yeah, we just wanted to thank you, Kareem, for being here. Damion, I do actually also have a quick question for you, which is what was your favorite movie to work on as far as stunts go?
Ooh, stunts. Movie. Obviously, Civil War was a lot of fun. Getting to fight Scarlett Johansson and her double
And get your
Heidi.
ass beat.
Yeah, hey, it pays well. And if you're gonna get beat up, getting beat up by a lady is much more. It's better than getting beat up by a man. But let's see, Civil War is a lot of fun. Actually, TV-wise, one of my favorite things I've ever done was Objects in Space, doubling Richard Brooks on Firefly. So
Amazing.
Richard Brooks
I loved Firefly.
Yeah, he played Jubel early, and I got to do his stunt double, be a stunt double for that episode, and just do more martial arts than I had been asked to do up until that point. So, and Richard is such a delightful person. So working with him and just working with a lot of the crew from Firefly was the same as Angel, which I also worked on. So, working with people I knew in that environment was just it was really just good times.
Did you double somebody on Civil War? Did you?
No, it was me. It was my face. I got to run around, be me, and I actually got to speak a little bit too. So that was fun.
Oh, what scene in Civil War? So we can all go back and watch it.
It's the sequence when they're all chasing after Crossbones, and it's a shell game, and he gives one of the mercenaries the bioweapon. I end up being the mercenary with the bioweapon.
It's the beginning.
I'm the one who says drop it or I'll drop. Yeah, at the beginning when the guy goes drop it or I'll drop this, and he's holding that vial of bioweapon, and then Red Wing actually shoots him with a dart, and then Black Widow catches the bioweapon, and then they keep on going.
I absolutely remember that scene.
Yep. I was speaking with an accent, so and there's a lot of fast movement, so it wouldn't necessarily be as recognizable as me right off the bat if you didn't. No.
You've done a lot of characters in costume, or like where your face is obscured and people don't know it's you. Is there any that are your favorite, or were there any where, or are all of them just like, please get this shit off my face?
I love doing costume. It just puts a different spin on your performance, because when you have something on your face, when you have makeup and things like that, it automatically makes you not you. So there's a quick association and a quick character base you can automatically form because you feel so different than you normally do. So that's just something I really enjoy, just being able to really just immerse into the character, because like I said, you're literally not you, is quite a bit of fun. And amusingly enough, one of the fun ones I did was for Thor: The Dark World. I did a lot of the reshoots for Curse, the big monster that fights Thor. So that was good times.
But you have the distinction of having worked in almost all of the famous franchises, correct? Like you've done Star Wars, you've done DC,
Star Wars,
you've done Marvel.
I haven't done Star Wars. That's the Star Trek. I've done Star Trek.
Star Trek.
DC,
I'm sorry, Star Trek.
Marvel.
Star Trek.
Yeah. Yep. Trek, DC, Marvel, Halo. What else have I worked in? I lose count, to be honest with you.
How long have you been at this?
Since 2000. So this is my 25th year in the business, which is crazy when you think about it. Wow. I spent my first 2 years, I was in Florida, in Orlando. That's where I got my SAG card. And then immediately after that, I moved out here 2 years later. And for the last 21 years, it's been dealing with the interesting changes and challenges that the business has offered us.
My next question was going to be, do you prefer stunts or do you prefer acting? And not that stunts isn't acting, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it depends on the story. Because there's characters that I would be an excellent stunt double for that I don't think I would be a good acting match for, and vice, you know. So it really depends upon what's going on. So for example, I actually doubled Luke Cage for Jessica Jones for a couple of episodes, and I don't think I'd be a good Luke Cage, but I'm an excellent Luke Cage double. So it really depends upon the project and where I feel like I could fit, where I feel like I could best serve the story. Because obviously it's all about, you know, fulfilling the vision of the story. So I like being in front of the camera. I quite enjoy that aspect and doing things that way. But there have been occasions where I've been called and it's like, oh, this is something behind the camera. For example, the latest show, one of the latest stunt gigs I did was actually the show Picard, where I actually got to double for Michael Dorn as Worf. So, yeah, and the stunt coordinator, who's a buddy of mine, knows that I've been moving out of stunts. And so he writes me, he goes, hey, what are you doing? Still doing stunts? Or I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of. And he goes, oh, so you don't want to come on Picard and double Worf? And I was like, wow. Because, you know, I've been a geek.
Yes, I do, sir.
Right, exactly. Yeah, what's my call time? I've been a geek and a fan of these things my entire life. And, you know, Star Trek, The Next Generation, Worf was the dude. So it was something that always made me want to be a Klingon. I didn't realize that I was going to be doubling for the Klingon.
Amazing. So, speaking of like projects that you've been on, and one of the things that I had mentioned at the top of this at the very beginning was that you, Kareem, and Christopher, who were all scheduled to be on, all worked on WB shows, and
Yes.
you worked as Goldface on The Flash, which was such a fun, over-the-top character. How much fun did you have with that?
All of the fun, like every little bit of it. It was the reception on that set was so warm, and just the stuff they had me doing was so kooky and so fun, and I could just chew as much scenery as I wanted to. So I had a blast. Like every time I got to go back. The only reason I wasn't season 7 was because pandemically they were just not doing anything, because there was supposed to be more stuff with Goldface and Ammanuel in season 7. But the pandemic made it so nobody was going anywhere. So of course they brought me back in season 8, which was great, and then again in season 9. So it was a wonderful experience. It's probably, all things considered, been, you know, my most complete acting experience, being able to embody that character for 3 different seasons and that many episodes. And yeah, it was just great times all around.
Is working with the WB different than other networks? Like, we see a lot of shows on the WB that you probably wouldn't see anywhere else. Do you feel a different like reception there?
Yeah, there was at the time, there was very much, they were really embracing just widening the scope of what they present the audience with, if I can say it diplomatically. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to feel welcomed and empowered to come in. The original vision for the character was a little differently than I portrayed it, but they liked what I brought so much that they shifted the character around what I was doing. Which, you know, they say it all the time. Like, I always hear this. It's, do your interpretation of the work. Don't do what you think they want. Do what you want to do. And it's never served me so well as when I did that. And moving forward, even after that experience, I've still forgotten a few times to, you know, not interpret the work, but give my interpretation of the work. Because anybody can interpret the work, but only you can do what you can do with it. So, and then dealing with the WB, like I said at the time, they were really into broadening the what's being seen. So they really let me play, and everybody was really welcoming, and you just saw, you could feel the welcoming nature of it throughout the entire, like from the top to the bottom. Everybody was very, okay, we're doing this is great, we like that, let's do this. You know, ideas were welcome to be tossed around, even if they weren't accepted. And it was just a very, very positive, enriching experience for me as a performer.
That's awesome. I love that.
I think because obviously with Kareem and Christopher, we also talked about, you know, basically being Black in this industry. And that's really nice to hear, right? Because I think we've all had experiences, you know, that weren't so nice. And so that's really great to hear. How many Black stuntmen are there, Damion?
There's a couple hundred at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, there's at least a couple hundred. It's still not an incredibly large pool, but especially if you go worldwide, we get into the high hundreds. The trick of it is the disciplines that are required for stunts aren't traditionally things that Blacks are into. Motocross is a long way. Equestrianism, for some reason, even though there's a large Black equestrian community, not a lot of them get into stunts. Martial arts, there's a pretty good amount, but especially with the American stuntmen, if you're into stunts, you come through because you have an expertise that they require, or you have something that you're really good at, and they need someone that can do that to do this specific gig that they're hiring for. And then through that, you are trained in other disciplines and you expand your knowledge base. So it's for Blacks, especially America, when we think of athletics, mostly it goes to sports. And aside from a few, I actually do know a few Black stuntmen that came through the sports world. It's not really as much a draw to bring a sports star into the stunt world, because football movies don't happen all that often, but you get the football shows and you'll get some through there. So it really depends on where you're from. In Europe and in other countries, they actually have stunt schools and things. They have more kind of regimented methodology of becoming a stuntman. So you might get more that have well-rounded skills because they came in through that. But it's not as widely known to be a profession. Like when I became a stuntman, I didn't even really know what they were. I was introduced to it through martial arts. I was doing martial arts demonstrations, and I saw an audition in Florida for a low-budget martial arts movie, and I went in and did the audition, and the people who were running the audition were stuntmen. And they took me to meet a legendary stuntman who was one of the founders of Stunts Unlimited. His name was Glenn Wilder. And he was doing a show in Florida. And at the time in Florida, speaking of your question about numbers, there were only 5 Black stuntmen. So he said, hey, I know you're trying to get into business. Do you want to be a stuntman? And of course I said yes, because one of the things I love about the way I came into the business is, just like Kareem was talking about, and having different aspects of the business give you better knowledge base and make you better for you interacting with the crew. Stuntmen are neither below the line nor above the line, so you kind of float, but you get to see both aspects, because in some ways you're treated as above the line because you are talent and you are working with the cast, but in other ways, since you're not really face characters, you're below the line and you're treated like crew. So it was, for me, in terms of learning about the business, it was the perfect mix of seeing both sides of it that enabled me to be able to move in a way that I felt comfortable with all aspects of the industry that are involved, all the different departments.
I actually did a movie. They renamed it several times because it was a bad movie, but the stunts were great. And my stunt people were Dale Gibson and Billy Washington, and Billy Washington ended up passing away. But yeah, they were the ones who handled all of my stunts and my horses, because a lot of people getting like as you said, Damon, getting like somebody who does stunts, but especially equestrian it's not easy. And so, but for that particular movie that I actually shot in Mississippi, it was Dale Gibson and Billy Washington.
I knew Billy. I wasn't familiar with Dell, but yeah, I worked with and for Billy a few times.
Yeah, so. Billy's great. Billy was great. He was putting together a skateboard movie, going back to Kareem started his career from skateboarding. I have a question from Carlos. Any shot you could play Thanos variant in Secret Wars?
That's up to Marvel. They haven't been calling, and I haven't been knocking at their door. So, if they call me and we can work it out, I'm not opposed to it.
So you guys just now need to start like a petition to make him get 100,000 people to sign and make Marvel take notice again.
Right.
Yeah, and someone also just asked, is a stunt coordinator a natural progression from stunt person to stunt coordinator?
Absolutely. Coming into the business with the intention of acting, it was not for me, but very much it's a natural progression. And nowadays, that's also a natural progression to director, because stunt person to stunt coordinator to second unit director to movie director. We have a lot of very well-known, a lot of very successful directors now, like Chad Stahelski, and who did famously co-directed John Wick, and wow, blanking on the name here. Wow. Okay, I can do this. And the director of most recently The Fall Guy. Ugh. I hope he doesn't listen to this and realize I forgot his name. But there's a lot of directors. J.J. Perry is another stunt person to stunt coordinator to second unit director and now directing. And it's the action move. If there's a lot of action in the movie, it moves the story. So having someone who has a clear understanding of action when directing is quite beneficial. And action in it of itself tells a story when done properly. So you already know all the aspects of storytelling through physicality. So just adding words to it, for some is an easy translation.
Sam Hargrave's another one that
yes.
transitioned to.
Yes, I know. Good.
Before we get deep into stunts, because I know I really want to have you back for our stunt pod. I'm gonna pause on stunts if that's okay with everybody.
David Leitch, go ahead. David Leitch directed Fall Guy. Also another. Go ahead.
I have a weird one for you. If you had to survive in an action movie, which one of your past characters would be the best suited to lead the group?
Thanos.
See, I'm going to ask you a weird question.
Thanos.
Okay, fair. With the snap.
I know. If you're gonna lead the group, you want to be an intergalactic conqueror. That's the.
That answer was inevitable. Thanks, Carlos.
So Carlos is one of our trolls. He likes to drop funny stuff in the chat. Yes, it was. And I was going to say, besides Thanos, what character?
Well, Goldface was actually pretty well suited because he was actually a tech salesman. He sold illegal tech as well as having his abilities. So he would be pretty good to go with. Of course, I've been working all morning, so my brain's a little scrambled on trying to remember characters. Who else was good? Definitely not the guy from Civil War. He got taken out pretty quickly. Who else? But maybe if we go back, Charmed. I played a Magi, which was a Moorish warrior. He'd probably do okay. The original Charmed, not the reboot.
Nice.
Who else? Yeah. A little shot back there. And honestly, Chains is pretty good from the Payday franchise. He's, he flushed out his SEAL training, but he was training to be a SEAL. So, and obviously he's used to highly tense and agitated situations. So he's not a bad call either. I got a few that I could make a good run with.
Now, working on something like a Payday 2, where you get to do multiple variations and things like that, and tell the story in so many different ways, and then your character is brought into the story for other people to play. What is that difference there for you between working on TV movies and then working on a game?
They're very different mediums with games, because games can have, like you said, there can be obviously with TV and movies, there are also quite a few people can be playing the different character when you start getting into stunts and stand-ins and all the different things. But with video games, I was very fortunate when it came to Chains with Payday, because aside from a few shoots, most of the things that had to do with Chains were me. I think with Payday 2, I think we did how many shoots did we do? We did 10 to 12 different shoots we did. And of those shoots, there were only about 4 of them where I didn't play Chains, where someone else played Chains. So that was a very atypical situation, because traditionally with video games, one person will do the voice, another person will do the motion, possibly. That's starting to homogenize, and people are starting to, do faces and voices at the same time. But traditionally it was a change. And then if there's a live action aspect of it, again, that'll be a different person playing that character, much as you see in Joel from The Last of Us. So that one was like very atypical considering all things. But I've also done things where I played, just the movement of a character, or just the voice of a character, or just the face of a character, and some other things to do back when they were first putting together a performance capture for video games, when they really started using facial models as base for that. For example, in Halo 2, the Master Chief Collection, all of the monster faces, when all the monsters are talking, they use my face for all of those. So I had to learn all those lines and lip sync all those lines so that they could map my face to do the monsters. So that was fun.
Yeah, the job that we worked on for Payday that I worked on with you was a good time. It was the first time I got to blow something up.
Yes.
Which was a good time. And then we also worked with in addition to the Payday crew, but then there was also Charlton Copley and Bokeem Woodbine on our shoot. And then I think the next one was Ron Perlman. So there was this like great bunch of amazing actors, and Lance Reddick, and Giancarlo Esposito. Like there's this amazing group of actors that played on Payday that people don't know about.
Oh yeah. No, it was that game was incredibly fun for all of the different things they were able to put together. So yeah, that was good times.
Okay. We have gone about almost an hour over our normal time. And I know Cheryl has a meeting to get to. And I know you probably have to get back on set. And I thank you so, so much for jumping in your car in between while still being in a very hot mocap outfit and joining us, and appreciate you so much for that. And would love you to come back for stunts, because I'm going to bring Eddie Perez, who you've worked with a bunch, and some lady stunt people. And so we would love to have you back for that. And that's possibly in 2 weeks, maybe in 4.
Excellent. I would love to come back. Hopefully I'll be available and the work will be around the recording. Thank you guys so much for hanging out for extra time. I really appreciate the opportunity to come in and answer some questions and hopefully impart some knowledge that might have been helpful.
Well, Damion, I really do want to thank you. And first of all, thank you everybody for hanging out. We were just about to wrap stuff up and Damion came in. What if you say, Carlos, like Thanos in the closing credits. And everybody pretty much, so many people stuck around. So again, thank you, Damion. Thank you for, even just hopping on. We know everybody is busy. We know our industry has been a little slow. So when we can work, we hope, and especially people who look like us, because representation is everything, especially in this day and age. It really, really is. We appreciate you. I love the fact that you stunted for Worf. Like
oh my God, so much.
I know. I was
you
such
you
a
have no
huge
idea
fan.
how that felt. You have no. And sorry, if I could just.
No, go ahead.
Please, go ahead.
So the initial scene where you see Worf, where he cuts off the guy's head and wipes out those 4 guys, that was me. When we shot that, Michael wasn't there, so he was coming in the next day and he did all the reaction stuff. So I'm sitting in the makeup chair and he's up on the thing, and I think we spoke a few times in rehearsals, but he comes down and he goes, Damion. He goes, so the producers, they said, hey, Michael, there's something we want you to take a look at. And they showed me the footage that you shot yesterday. And it was amazing. And so inside, I was screeching and screaming and jumping up and down. And outside, I said, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You have a geek moment, right?
Yeah, I had a the inner geek was losing its mind. The outer geek, the outer professional was like, "Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it, sir. I'm glad I was able to, put together something that worked for you."
Do we have any last questions? Especially so, B Trusty has joined us. We got Carlos. Talk about people who geek out. Yes, the original Thanos has joined us. In a minute, I'm going to snap my fingers and we're all going to disappear. But
Is that a
Carlos,
Beyonce joke, Cheryl? You're making Beyonce jokes now? Is that what happened?
you know what? Keep quiet, Gil. I'm going to snap my fingers and we all going to disappear. Real quick, Carlos or Beatrice, you got anything, any last questions or comments for Damion before we shut down this pod?
Yeah, just real quick. I just want to say I'm glad that I came in, Damion, and got a chance to listen to you talk. I love you nailed the Michael Dorn voice. That was awesome. Yeah, a good friend of mine is actually the older brother of Anthony Mackie. I know his brother Calvin really, really well. So it was funny. Like after Avengers Endgame, he was teasing me. I was hosting trivia, and he was teasing me, and I said, "Man, you're just acting up because you feel some kind of way because Thanos killed your brother." So it's good to talk to the guy who originally killed Anthony Mackie. So well done. So yeah, thank you for that, man. Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you, Nicci, for hosting the great pod. And nice meeting you, man. Hope to hear from you again soon.
Nice to meet you too. Appreciate you.
Beatrice, just so you know, I actually started off this entire pod by saying the fact that you always tease me about how hard I go for Black women. And this was dedicated to Black men. This was dedicated to Black men. We had Christopher Emanuel, we had Kareem Grimes, and of course, Damion Poitier. Representation literally is everything. Thank you, Damion. And thank you, Gil, for joining us for Men of Color Unite. Tyler, even though you didn't say anything, thank you, Tyler. Obviously, Manon, who was in here earlier, Brenda Gilbert. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, The Morning Commute. All of the speakers, y'all hung in there with us. Rashida and Kay and Trucka. Nicci was in. Christopher Boozy, the owner of Spottable. We want to make sure that in these coming years that we continue to build community by us, among us. Damion, you will absolutely be back.
Yes.
I am so incredibly grateful to Spottable, to The Morning Commute, to Christopher, to Nicci Barnes. Thank you, Joe, for hanging in there with us. Kay, Susan, like I said, Trucka, Rashida, all of you guys. Thank you so much for all of your love, for all of your support, for helping to make our pod just continuously pop. And of course, thank you. I could not do this without you. Thank you, Nicci Freeman. You are one of my ride or dies.
Oh.
You gonna say something other than aw? And also,
no, you know I hate it.
I do know that you hate it. I am friends with Christopher Emanuel, but Nicci is the one who is actually friends with Kareem and Damion, even though I've seen them throughout the years. So that's why I'm giving all my kudos to Nicci Freeman, because I get them all the time on Spottable, thanked all the time. But really, Nicci, this pod, this success is yours. And I know you hate it when I put you on the spot, but thank you. You are absolutely my ride or die. I love you, Nicci.
And I love you too. And thank you, Cheryl, for putting the WOCU pod together and all that you do for WOCU.
We will be back. We will continue doing this. We will continue building community. Thank you so much, Damion. We will let you get back. With that, I'm gonna snap my fingers. I'm gonna snap my fingers, y'all. In 5, 4. Have a great day. 3.
You too. Thank you.
2, and 1. Have a good one.
The Women of Color Unite podcast is hosted by Cheryl L. Bedford and Nicci Freeman, produced by Nwabata Nnani, and edited by Lauren Bonett. The music is by Oh Yeah, featuring Nayuta. Subscribe to the Women of Color Unite podcast to never miss an episode. If you want to submit questions or responses to this episode, you can send them to podcast@wokeunite.com. Find the show notes and transcripts for this podcast on our website at wokeunite.org, where you can also learn more about Women of Color Unite and sign up to become a member for free and sign up for our monthly newsletter. Please consider making a tax-deductible donation. Donations are what enable us to create amazing programs like our #StartWith8 career development program. If you're on social media, you can follow the podcast at WOCU Podcast, and you can follow Women of Color Unite at WOCUnite.org.
Please stay tuned and join us for the next episode of the Women of Color Unite podcast, because we telling it like it is.
Need rebels and troublemakers to stand out, marginalized with voices making us so proud. For identity in the industry, we all shout. So many women empowered, making their own route.
Ageism, racism, sexism,
uncovered. They get together to form a force to prove the one that ain't gotta have a child to be seen as a mother. I'm saying
all power
to the women of color. Yeah. It's just a salute to Cheryl Bedford, leading activist in the community. She's bridging the gap and bringing all women together to fight for real inclusion amongst all the diversities. Keep going.